Dell's going to, while everyone's loading up and distracted, she's going to go to this house, kind of a large, what once was a nice house, near the edge of town, and kind of look around in the ashes of what remains.
Okay, I guess if he sees her digging around in the ashes, he just asks, "So what you looking for?"
Nothing.
And kind of kicks a random pile of ashes.
As you're kicking around, you clink up a little bit of metal, and a little gold bracelet flies across the room and smacks against the the wall that remains.
Dell notices and is like, "Oh my god." She goes over and picks it up and kind of holds it in her hand, and her hand starts shaking violently.
Look, it didn't look that valuable. I don't think we struck the gold mine here. It says you can chill out.
Dell turns around and then, not at O'Malley, but behind him, casts Ray of Frost. Back up!
Are you okay?
Jesus, okay. I'm getting angry.
Absolutely not. Never mind. Then O'Malley holds his hand up and is like, "Whoa there. What is going on?"
Leave me alone. She kind of holds the bracelet close to her chest and runs off in the woods.
So when that Ray of Frost happens, Phantom's gonna look, but not go near what happened, and instead, can I just do an investigation over the whole area?
What are you looking for in particular?
Anything shockingly noticeable, I guess.
Sure.
Anything that draws my attention.
You get momentary flashes of shows. You see your friends, colleagues, other performers lining the seating all across the stage area. You see people happy and cheering, blown away by the smoke of a fire.
What the hell happened here? And then his attention turns to Dell. Why does she have a connection here? And so he kind of walks over. The Ray of Frost and Malian is like, the hell happened with her?
I'm gonna go up to O'Malley and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, something really happened here. I'm over this temper tantrum throwing thing and then running off and not explaining herself. What did she find in the ash?"
O'Malley kind of kicks around. Okay, he just kind of kicks around and says, "To be honest, I'm just as lost as you, and quite frankly, just as tired of it as you are. Look,
we're all
I know she's got
here.
issues.
We're all going to Durandal together. We're all working towards a common goal, and I really feel like Dell is not a part of this group, especially whenever she's keeping secrets. This seems like a very big thing that happened, and she got mad at Ehrlich for keeping a secret herself, you know?
Yeah.
If you know.
Not wrong.
If you know, you know. I think you're the only one that she would even talk to about this, but there has to be something up.
O'Malley kind of looks around and looks back at the spot where she Ray of Frosted and just kind of grimaces and is like, "Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I don't know how much I'll be able to get done, but I'm probably our best shot."
I think that you should go talk to her, but I think that before we can move forward, I think that she needs to be a little bit more truthful than she's being right now.
He kind of turns and says, "Okay, I'll go talk to her. I don't know that I'll get her to talk to everyone, but at least I can, do my best to get what information I can and make sure that everybody at least is hopefully a little more in the loop."
It's a 12.
She's going to be a tough crack, but our family's pretty good at doing that.
Yeah.
As long as you make sure that whatever her issue isn't going to affect the rest of us and get us killed moving forward, then I would like to know what's going on.
Well, as much as this is a little betrayal-y of her, do you want to try to sneak along behind me? And maybe I probably won't. I don't know that you'll be able to get close enough to over here, but I could potentially telepathically relay as we're talking. That way there's a second source to have the information and pass it along.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay. And he kind of straightens his his armor and his coat and kind of just takes a deep breath and says, okay, let's do it, and starts walking towards Dell.
I'm gonna walk behind him, but like not to where she could even see that I'm walking behind him, I guess.
She's sitting down on a rock, just kind of flipping the band over in her hand, just kind of examining it. You can't see her face, but she's shaking very hard.
O'Malley's going to walk over, so I am at this point starting to, I'm telepathically basically relaying like images and everything that I can to Lyss as I'm going. I'm going to walk over, then O'Malley's just going to sit and he's going to take off his talisman and just kind of turn it over in his hand, kind of a little bit mirroring what Dell is doing. And he's just going to kind of quietly say, the mission's not really going to work too well if nobody here can trust you at all. And it's getting harder and harder to get these guys on board with trusting you. Ironic enough as that statement is, with all the whole dramatic running off and screaming thing that's happened a good handful of times now.
She just turns to look at you, and you can see just tears streaming down her face.
O'Malley really doesn't know what to do with actual emotion, so he's just kind of like somewhat doesn't make direct eye contact, and then says, I just think it would help me help you to help me help the party if you would just at least fill me in on what the heck happened here. Like you just tried to shoot at me a little bit, so, and I'm a little upset about that, but I'm gonna move past that. And say that, yeah, I think the best thing here would definitely be if you could fill me in on what happened here.
No one can know.
I don't think, and I'm not saying I don't trust you, I'm just saying that I think we both know the most efficient way for me to get the full story and actually know that I have the full story.
Everyone...
I mean, come on.
Everyone except me, Salazar, and our dad, who knew about what happened, has been assassinated.
Well, then it's a good thing we have a good team around us. I mean, you've lived so far, and I'm better than you now, so I should be fine. And I'll make sure that the rest of these guys are okay. So.
I'm better than you now?
I don't believe that for a second. I'm sorry.
Well, you're going to have to extend at least a little bit of trust if you want to earn it. And like I said, you're steering this mission towards failure the harder you push against this. And I know that's not what you want. You know that's not what I want.
She looks at him for a moment, then down at the band, then back up at you. You want to know what happened?
Yeah.
As the words start to escape your mouth, your throat clenches, and you feel tearing from within. Continue your story.
Now, I seriously cannot tell you.
O'Malley's gonna give Dell a look, like, in general, like they understand each other type look, and start to probe into her mind to just read her mind so she doesn't have to say it.
She opens up her mind to you willingly. I don't think this is going to work, she mentally tells you.
We need to try. For the Centurions, we need to try.
If I tell you, they could kill me. And you. I don't know. They might kill everyone.
I won't let that happen.
I don't know if it's in your control.
I am the heir to the Nihilus Empire.
You think that means anything to them?
It did when you were the heir.
No, it doesn't. It never did.
Well, then we're just going to have them prove it. And O'Malley is going to try to push through to, like, see the memory of what's going on.
She's gonna let you deeper into her mind, but whenever you go deeper into her mind, it's just a black void, and it's her standing in front of you. And she holds out her hands. You want to know everything then?
Yes. It's time.
Some of this even Dad doesn't know. If I'm going to show you this, I need you to swear you're never going to breathe a word of this to anyone. Do you understand?
The story will never leave my lips.
Yeah, that's not great considering that we're telepathically linked, but this is the best I can hope for. I guess you do deserve to know. She holds out her hands, pulls off her gloves. The gloves that you've never seen her take off for several years. And you can see that her hands are warped and very severe burn scars cross her palms. It looks almost as if her flesh had melted and reformed.
I definitely just thought that was a really angsty fashion decision, but okay. That's unfortunate.
She breathes out slowly. As she lets you into her mind, you find yourself enveloped in a strange sense of peace, like the gentle breeze before a thunderstorm. You sense through Dell's eyes and ears the cooing of rock doves and the first purple light of dawn trickling through an inn's bedroom window. As your vision comes into focus, you see another person in the room with you. Someone you recognize. Jinya, the currently missing genie heir. Jinya asks, "You finally awake, sleepyhead?" and tries to pull the sheets off of Dell. Dell groans and holds the sheet back until Jinya tugs on them again, at which point she lets go, jumps up, and cuffs the genie playfully on the shoulder. Jinya laughs and dramatically fakes an injury. As they exchange pleasant teasing good mornings, your vision shifts to Dell sorting her bag for the day. "Thank you for coming with me this time," Dell says as she pulls out a fresh set of clothes. "I've been having to do this alone ever since Salazar graduated me from my understudy. I know you were connected with me that whole time, but being able to have you here in person is nice. It makes this whole ordeal a lot more fun." Jinya replies, Don't mention it, Ash. Sure beats staying in a stuffy old office building, sitting at a desk, listening to Jennifer complain from across the room. Trust me, her voice gets unbearable after a while. Besides," she trails off. Suddenly, Dell is pulled somewhat violently away from the bag. Jinya is staring into her eyes. She continues, "When I'm in the office, I can't do this." She pulls Dell in for a kiss. You feel Dell's surprise, then a deep sense of comfort as they both lean in closer. Everything goes black.
Telepathically, O'Malley's keeping his cool. Physically, O'Malley just gagged.
You suddenly find yourself in the lower portion of the inn. A kind, older tabaxi fixes Dell and Jinya breakfast. The old tabaxi calls them the town heroes and gives them food free of charge. Dell and Jinya speak to each other telepathically over breakfast, joking about the gullibility of the townsfolk, but also conversing about the various things they'd done over the past several days to get the budding village off on its feet, like teaching them about crop rotation and irrigation. "It's nice knowing that we're leaving this place better than we found it," Dell says. "Even if it is the most basic improvements ever. Makes it easier to reuse the village in the future if they associate you and the company with good things." "You know," Jinya replies, "this whole racket isn't that bad. Seems pretty win-win if you ask me. Even comes with giving them a guaranteed place in the Stygian afterlife, which, I mean, even if as a lemur, isn't too bad. Sure beats the void, that's for sure." You feel Dell's face light up with pride. "Very true. We're New World heroes, Jen. Lots of free food and drinks, easy contracts, keeping the natural balance in check. This is the life." Everything goes black again. After a moment of silence, once again the scene before you changes. It warps into a long abandoned building in what appears to be a dilapidated ghost town. You recognize it as the ruins of a non-burnt down town near the burnt down town that you can only assume are from a time before, from the time Phantom was around. "Alrighty, oh high and mighty one, what are we doing?" Jinya asks. You look down to see Dell pull her whip free from the holster at her side and unravel it. Drothimir tends to sleep in until about 9:30 every morning. This is the perfect time to make our move. We want him groggy, confused, scared, and most importantly, we want him willing to do anything we say. He's strong and he's smart, and he's going to live for at least another 500 years. So us obtaining him will be an extremely profitable investment for you especially. Jinya nods. "Got it. I know the mission, Snake Eyes. How are we accomplishing it?" "Simple," Dell replies. You feel a confident smirk grow on her face. She waves her hand over the whip, casting green flame onto it. "Do you know why my family gave me the nickname Ash?" Because your name is Asphodel? Jenya asks. Technically it's Asphodel, but they changed the pronunciation because I leave embers behind wherever I go. I'm a harbinger of ash and smoke. Jenya raises a brow. Okay, Miss Dramatic. But seriously, what's the actual plan? I know fire's your go-to, but this town is way grassier than most of the other places you've been to. Del sighs. You feel a warmth flush across your cheeks as she blushes. Okay, fine. My brother didn't know how to pronounce it properly, so he just called me Ash and it stuck. But seriously, that is the plan. We light the side of the house on fire, run into town claiming we noticed the smoke, then rush in and offer him a contract that the Great One gave us for him to save his life. It'll give him temporary fire resistance, get him and his family out, put out the fire with minimal damage. Minimal damage? Jenya crosses her arms. That's a little optimistic. Again, there's too much grass. I think a rock slide would be better. We can control it to only hit one part of the village, whereas a fire can get out of hand pretty easily. Del shakes her head. I know this is your first time really getting to see the overworld, so trust me. With fog this heavy, the grass isn't going to catch easily, and neither is this house. It's made of currently drenched oak, and it'll burn slowly and produce a lot of smoke, which is exactly what we want. With how overcast it is, it's probably going to rain in an hour or two as well. Besides, a rock slide might actually kill someone or trap them so that even we can't get them out. Right now, these people are more valuable to us alive. Believe me, this is the safer and easier option. Jenya relents and smiles. Okay then, you're the boss. Let's do this. Without a word, Del steps closer to her and kisses her. In the blink, the scene goes dark. Del herself stands in front of you in the void. Her cheeks are wet with tears. Where there was anger, there is now only exhaustion and defeat. Mal, you sure you want to do this?
O'Malley gives like a really hard swallow. He's pretty familiar with, how missions go, how operations go. None of that was too surprising, but he's starting to put a couple pieces together in his brain and thinks he knows where things may be heading. Yeah, let's do it.
Your head starts to dramatically hurt. O'Malley, yours as well. The memory becomes thick.
Let's do it. Let's get this over with.
Okay. The blackness gives way to a silent memory of Del teaching Jenya how to light the fire under the elf's house. Then it skips to them running back through the forest, then into the town again, calling out warnings of the fire. They charge into the burning house, and Del lights a small table on fire and uses it to block the door. They break down the door to the bedroom, and as Del steps in, a roaring wave of heat hits you, along with the overwhelming chemical scent of turpentine. A wave of panic floods over you as Del realizes that the floors are made of untreated pine wood. They find the family huddled in a corner, cut off by the flames. Del casts a ray of frost into the fire, subduing it enough for them to get away from the more immediate danger. They hastily present the elven man with a contract to make his skin fire-resistant, so he can help them free his family. He signs it, and Del shatters the nearest window. She jumps out, and they work together to lower the two children out of the house. Jenya lowers them from the roof, and Del grabs them and gets them to safety. As they're helping, the wife gets down. A resounding crack fills the air. Time begins to slow as Del releases the wife to the safety of solid ground. A rafter beam breaks free from the roof, and slowly, agonizingly, stabs the elven man through the heart. Del tries to scream for Jenya to get out of the house, but before the words can leave her mouth, the entire roof caves in and the whole building goes up in flames. Del screams, frantically trying to put out the fire, but you feel a searing heat against your chest. You look down and find Del's talisman is dissolving into ashes. She rips it off to keep it from burning through her chest. It sears her palms and falls to dust between her fingers. She looks up and her heart drops as she realizes the other buildings are beginning to catch on fire. The elven man's wife screams, shaking Del violently by the shoulders. You said he would be okay! You said he would be okay! A flash of familiar burning anger radiates through Del's body. She pushes the woman back, knocking her to the ground. You idiot! Del yells. Brain dead, idiotic imbecile! I knew you people were ignorant, but using untreated pine as a floor with an indoor fireplace? You stupid, incompetent fools! Wait! The woman's eyes narrow. We didn't have the fireplace on. It was you, wasn't it? You started the fire! Del's fists clench with rage. Don't be ridiculous, you primitive hag. You're out of your mind! She puts a hand on her whip. The woman gets to her feet, slowly, shakily, but with a deadly resolve. No, it was you. You lied to us. This is your plan the whole time, wasn't it? To kill my husband? Who really sent you devils? The word makes Dell wince. This was never the plan, Dell says through her tears. You feel something inside of her snap, like a twig being broken in two. But you know what? You forced me to improvise. Dell raises her whip. The area around you goes dark. Your sister again appears in front of you, this time shivering uncontrollably. There's more. But if you want to stop, we can. You have every right to hate me, you know. In fact, you even have the right to kill me now if you see fit.
O'Malley doesn't respond to any of like the extra comments. He just is staring off into the distance where the images were and says, keep going.
Okay. You find yourself in a place all too familiar. Your father's office. Asphodel, Circe, Nihilus! Malistaire Nihilus IV yells. His nostrils flare with anger as he towers over you, both hands balled into fists pressed against his ornate mahogany desk. Do you have any idea what you've done, you incompetent, ignorant, stupid girl? Dell closes her eyes and lowers her head, trying and failing to hide her tears. A flicker of a memory of Salazar being sent to kill the rest of the village after the incident fills your head. No one was spared his blade. So you don't have anything to say in your defense? He slams his fist against the desk. Nothing about how you lost us our score, an entire village, and our business partner's only heir on the same day? She cowers, trying to make herself as small as possible. The back of his hand connects with her face. You watch helplessly as she falls backwards out of the chair she'd been sitting in, crying out in pain. Malistaire scoffs. You're weak. Dell stiffens at the word. He walks around the desk and kicks her in the ribs. You feel sharp pain and taste iron as she bites her tongue to keep from screaming out. Pathetic, worthless waste of space, he mutters. He sighs. The genies are threatening to end their partnership because of this. Jinya's death could bring about the permanent end of Nana's corporation. Slowly, carefully, Dell gets to her feet and looks him in the eyes. Tears burn hot against her cheeks. The places he'd struck her were already starting to bruise. I can fix this, Dad. I'm sorry. Malistaire picks up a stack of papers from his desk and holds them up in front of her. No, Asphodel. He rips the stack in half. I will be fixing this. You're fired. The image shifts around you as Dell is thrown out of the office. She falls to the ground as the door slams behind her. A shame, really. I had high hopes for you. Salazar's voice sends a chill up your spine. Dell looks up at him, then down at her own shaking hands. It's all gone, Salazar. What do I do? He grabs her by the collar of her shirt and pulls her to her feet. You get up, and you wait. You stand in silence, wait for your father to calm down, and see what he announces to the public. You are not to speak a word of this event to anyone, not even your brother. Do you understand? You feel a jolt of shock. O'Malley! Oh, no, he can't! Salazar nods somberly. I'm afraid he is next in line as the heir. Your failure almost guarantees he will be taking your place. His eyes narrow. Unless... Dell takes a step back. You can feel the pounding of her heartbeat against her chest. No, not that. I will not kill my own brother! You and I both know that if your brother takes over this company, not even Levistus himself can keep it from going under. You want my advice? Duel him after his ascension. Regain your honor and title. He winces as blood drips from his nose. I cannot say more. If you want to be weak, so be it. I did not train you to be so pathetic. You disappoint me, Asphodel. The light changes abruptly to a dimly lit chamber you recognize as your sister's room. She's punching her pillow, screaming curses at Levistus. Crimson fire burns through her mind as the moment of Jinya's death plays on repeat. I hope you never taste freedom, and you never breathe real air. Rot in your tomb, you liar! I asked you to protect her, and she's dead! With a roar, she slams her fist against the wall, ignoring the sting of stone tearing against her knuckles. Something clatters to the floor behind her. She turns to find her title signifier badge had been knocked off the nightstand in her rage. She gets up, gaze cold, and walks over to it. And fuck you, Nihilist Corporation. She slams the heel of her boot down, shattering the last remnant of her former position. She picks up the pieces and walks over to the window. With a sigh, she throws the shattered remains into the whiteness beyond. If Mal is supposed to replace me, then damn it, I'll make him the best CEO hell has ever seen. The scene around you melts back into the forest. The quiet sounds of bird chirping and the soft rustle of wind in the leaves.
O'Malley takes a couple steps towards Dell, very shakily, slowly, kind of still looking down, processing everything, and then in very uncharacteristic and clearly not used to it fashion, actually gives her a hug.
Dell is extremely surprised, and she is just shaking all over, and just partially out of surprise and partially out of just really needing the comfort, she reciprocates and also hugs him back. I miss her so much.
O'Malley steps back and starts to walk away, and before walking away, just turns back and says, I was wrong about you, and I'm really glad I was wrong about you. And then he's just gonna walk away.
Dell just kind of collapses to her knees as he walks away and just sobs into her hands.